Hello, my dear. Uh, I love your program. I like the little asking them to choose a perfect cube shape item and all that kind of good stuff. But there is an issue, one little problem. Let's take a look at it. Okay, here is your code. And well, let's just run it. Let's do this first. Name an object perfect cube. Let's say a Rubik, right? A Rubik cube. Uh, Measure one side. Okay, I'm going to say it's 3 inches long. And when I have a perfect cube, Rubik, perfect, figure out the measure from one side. 3, great, since it's a perfect cube, all sides will measure the same. We can use 3 to calculate the volume. The volume of the Rubik is 64, which doesn't sound right for 3. To figure out the surface area, we'll need to multiply your 3 by 6, 24. 3 times 6 is not 24. And then we'll take that number and square it, 576. This is your final surface area. Okay, there's some calculation issues, but there's another issue too. Let me run this again, and I'm going to say I have a huge Rubik cube that is 25 inches. 25 inches. There it is, 25. We can use the 25 to calculate the volume of your cubic. The volume is still 64. It said it was 64 when it was 3 inches. Now it says it's 64, and it's still 576. Nothing changed in the calculations, even though I did a drastically different number. 3 inches and 25 inches should not produce the same surface area and volume. So what is going on? Well, let's take a look. So object, okay, there's where you have them input the name of the object. Now figure the measurement. So you call it length. Great, that's fine. That's a good name because they're telling you the length of one side. And you print that, and great. So now you say we can use the length to calculate the volume. Yes. What is this? Number 1 equals 4. Where are we using it? And then to calculate the volume, you used this. You didn't use the length I entered. This should be LENGTH. To take the volume with my this is not even needed, with my input. So the volume of mine should be whatever I entered to the third power. And then to figure out the surface area, let's look at the template real quick. Yes, the volume is the side length cubed. The surface area is 6 times the side squared. You multiply 6 times the side first and then square it. That squares the 6 also. This is just supposed to be the S squared, and then you multiply that by 6. When you multiply the 6 and the S together first, you're squaring the 6 also, and that makes the answer way off from what it should be. But again, let's look at this again. You've got this number 1 and number 2. Okay, number 2 is the side. I understand that. All right. But you multiply those together, which again, as we just talked about, that's, I'm just going to put a comment in front of that line so it'll ignore it because we don't need that. And we don't need this number 1 because we got the length. So we're taking out that and taking out that, making a comment. We'll leave this, but well, actually, instead of making this comment, let's just correct it. Let's correct it. Well, it does another calculation below. So let's take out this total because we don't need that. We'll take that number and square it. I'm going to take that out too. Here it is, the power. You went number 1 times number 2 squared. This should just be, again, length squared, and then multiply that times 6, whatever the length is. I'll put some spaces just to make it look better. 6 times the side length squared. 6 times the side length squared. I'm going to put comments on this one too. So I'm taking out all of those lines. I'll just delete them. Let's just make it simple so it doesn't confuse us what's left. So we have this 6. Well, I guess we can say, since you have this as a variable, number 2. So that's taking the side length squared times 6 because you've got a variable with 6 right there. So let's try this again. Rubik. One side is 3 inches. Oh, wait a minute. X must be a number on line 20. I've messed something up with what I've done. The volume of your object is Print total. Line 20. Oh, power. Here it is. Oh, here's the problem. And this may be why you start putting other numbers. When we did the input, we did not tell it was going to be a number. How long is it in inches? Length equals input. Let's make it a float in case somebody puts 5.5. The input you have to tell it whether it's an integer or a float. If you don't tell it, it thinks I typed a word. It thinks 3 is a word. So let's try this again. Rubik 3. Let's see. Oh, now that I've done that, there it is. Got to tell it, since it knows it's a number now, I can't print it with words without using the string command. So I've created some other issues there. Let's see. Is that the only one? $27 is the volume. 54 is the surface area. Okay, that sounds right. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9, and we multiply that times 6. That is 54. So this is the correct volume and surface area. Let's do the great big Rubik cube that I did earlier. Make sure it comes out with a different calculation. 25 inches. It's a huge one. Look at that. The volume is 15,625 and 3750 for the surface area. Yeah, it should come up with different numbers. Yours was actually using a side length of 4. No matter what the person entered, it was always calculating the side length of 4. So that was the biggest thing I saw. There's a couple other errors that showed up after we fixed that the input was not a number. Whatever number they entered, it wasn't counting it as a number because we forgot to put integer or float in front of that input statement so it would know. But overall, I really like the layout of it. You just had some little glitches in there that created some issues that no matter what I entered, I always got the same surface area and volume. So, all right. I'll get you this video. We'll see you in class.